It's weird being fucking assholes. Anyway, what's up, man? We live. We live on time.
Oh,
First time ever. Like, yo, fuck CP time. We on time today.
Oh
wait, I
shit! What
thought we
time
were
were we
supposed to
supposed
start
to
at four
start?
fifteen.
No, I put it back to 420 because we ain't shit.
Oh shoot!
Put it back to 420 because we ain't shit. So, but yeah. So, welcome to the cut, guys. Man, it's another day. Another day. It's just the three of us until G Dub shows up. If he shows up, I don't.
He might not. He probably ain't.
Hey, it depends.
The
He's
Three
his
Stooges.
windows. Hey, I mean, it's back to the OG, man. This is the triple OG. This is how it was in the beginning, man. We just the three of us. So, like, doing this right now with just us.
Throwback episode. Throwback.
Legit a freaking throwback to us having, just a few of us. So anyway, let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself. Of course, I'm Country Boy. I'm your host, and I'm an exhausted dad. And we got my man, Bad Guy, who is going to be modest, but he's actually an asshole.
Most of the time.
And then just sometimes. And then we got my man Wicker Thurman over here, who is our resident encyclopedia. Who I also heard you have a new Instagram page.
It's my old Instagram. I done had Instagram for like since the beginning, but I never did anything with it. And so all of a sudden, I was like, people keep telling me get on Instagram, get on Instagram. So I did a bunch of stuff like over the last 2 days to like kind of connect to Instagram and try to follow some people and get some people to follow women and everything like that. But I don't know anything about Instagram and I don't understand how it works. So it's weird to me, and I got a bunch of shit on my page, followed a bunch of people, and so we'll see what happens.
No worries, man. No worries. I'm not going to
follow some people and get some people to follow
DP, are you with
and
me?
everything like that. But I don't know any. Oh,
so yeah, we're not going to stress you out. That was me. I'm sorry. I was trying to share this thing, and then I was going into the page, and it wasn't working for me. Anyway, sorry. The host fucking feedback, and I'm an asshole.
Shout out to DP. What's happening?
What's up, DP? How you doing? So, anyway, the topic for today is meet the parents, man. Dealing with your parents. First and foremostly, it's a communication issue. Most of us are, especially if you have Black parents, are used to your parents telling you, "Hey, you to be seen and not heard. Don't talk back. Stay in your place. Stay in a child's place." So when you get older, you just used to that. You used to not addressing them when they got issues or when they have things. And when you become an adult and you actually have to try to, hey, what's going on with you? How you doing? It's very difficult. It's difficult. I would say it's difficult for me. I struggle with it. I struggle with trying to reach out to my parents and ask them, hey, are you doing okay? How health wise? Especially my dad, who, we guys, if we're not talking about sports, we're talking about shit. You know what I mean? We're not talking about sports. We're not talking about shit. So the idea that I'm gonna ask my dad, how you feeling, how are you doing mentally? That's just not gonna happen. That's something I have to work on.
I can do it with my dad, and I've tried to do it before. But the thing that I find the problem is that like if I try to bring in some of my other siblings into it, automatically, anytime I bring my siblings into anything, the conversation is just gonna break down. Just that simple. So I don't know what's going on, but like I think it's the fact that when you got other people who have some stuff that they need to work on themselves, and if they're not willing to work on that stuff, it's just a total breakdown in communication, and it often goes left. So
Yeah. As black people, it's it's hard to take constructive criticism sometimes. So, and especially when you're dealing with your own parent, the person that raised you, you may have had some experiences that they can benefit from, but sometimes it's that finding a way to have them be open to receive those messages. That's the hard part.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that it's different um with depending on gender? Do you feel like women did you have either time with your mom or either time with your dad? Because at least for me, if I wanted to ask my dad, I probably could. I probably could. But my mom, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Well,
I'm a child in her eyes.
I have a problem with like my mom actually listening to what I'm telling her because my mom has a tendency to like is- uh, like she wants to help people who don't want to help themselves. And I'm like,
Right.
yo, you do understand that by them showing you signs that they ain't gonna do right, they ain't gonna do nothing, they ain't shit. You sitting there trying to continuously help them and try to make a way for them, you ain't doing nothing but burning through your capital.
Right.
So why are you burning through your capital trying to help somebody who is just gonna just take your money, use it up, and then gonna move on and do whatever they gotta do? That's a
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still ain't cracked that code and I still ain't got it through to her to see that and probably
Do
never
you
will.
you think I'm about to say, do you ever think that she will, that she will get it, or this is
Mm-mm.
something that you feel like at some point you might have to actually be like, hey, I'm not going to allow this to happen anymore.
I, I didn't try the whole I can't allow you to do this. And basically what she'll do is she'll just find a way to convince you that that's not what I'm doing. And then you look up 3 weeks later and you like, dang, you done did exactly what I told you not to do. It is what it is. Cause
For me,
I'm
when my mom was here, financial and bills wise, I could communicate that because I was involved because it was just me and my mom for a long time. My problem was when my mom was communicating her health, like because I was her child, she didn't want me to know when she was sick. So before she died, that's what she was hiding from us because she didn't want us to be worried about her so much. So finding how to cross that barrier was a thing.
mm,
Yeah, and to that point, like I wouldn't know. I don't know if I would know. I don't know if my parents would even tell me if they would have an issue or if stuff was going on. Let me just give you an example. A couple weeks ago, my cousin passed away. She had MS, and we went to the funeral. Like, hey, funerals during COVID-19. That shit different.
different.
So we went to the funeral, and the funeral was just at a funeral home. We viewed the body one person at a time, and then we went outside. Whole time I got my mask on, but I have to my dad, who was not wearing his mask when we first did this, when we first went out there. I was like, yo, you need to be wearing your mask. I don't want to call you old, but you in that group. You in that bracket. He's like, I don't need no mask. I nigga, you keep listening to Trump if you want to. Anyway, we hang out, we talk. I got my mask on, but I converse with a lot of my cousins and whatnot. The next week, I find out that 2 of them tested positive for COVID-19 while we're out there. And that's 6 degrees of separation shit. That stuff is real.
Right.
You look
Mhm.
and the people that were around him that could have possibly been sick and that were also at the funeral. You know what I'm saying? My uncles who were there, who may have wore masks at that time, but weren't wearing masks the other time they were around that person. And now my
Mhm.
dad was like, well, I went golfing with my brothers and now I'm worried. Nigga, this is why you think I told you to wear a mask. Why you think this shit from
So as soon as you found out you'd have been anywhere close to somebody, you need to be going to get that test.
I mean, it was I feel the same way because y'all know my grandma, she passed away about 2 months ago or so. And so they had a funeral, and I just made the decision that because of Corona, I was like, I was just down there with y'all. We, we said our goodbyes. We was around each other at that point in time. I don't know if I can travel back to y'all to go through this funeral thing, because it's like, I don't know how much I
Already
want to
playing with
expose
fire.
myself, to that, to travel, because it's not necessarily y'all. It's the fact of is I'm 10 hours between y'all and where I am now. And during that 10 hours, I'm going to have to stop and get food, stop and get gas, stop and do, all kinds of stuff. And then when I get there, you got to get a hotel, you got to get all kinds of stuff like that. And so the more you come in contact with other people whom you don't know how they're treating coronavirus, that's when you can get into trouble, because it just take you one time, interacting with somebody at a hotel who think it's a fucking hoax, and they not wearing a face mask, and they handing you bottles of water and stuff with Corona all over it, and you taking it around, and you done gave it to everybody
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing that like really like gets you to thinking like, what, I would love to do X, Y, and Z, but it's not about me. It's not about the bad guy. It's not about Country Boy. It's about that random cat whom we don't personally know, who could come in and just be like, give all of us coronavirus and we all go down,
Right.
Yeah.
Or you. As far as we know, we don't know who we done gave it to, because we could just be carriers.
Yeah, and that's another scary part of it. Like, who the fuck? Who knows? You don't know where you got it. You don't know if you got it right now unless you get tested. And let me tell you something. Fuck that nasal swab. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
So, but getting back to on topic though, with parenting your parents, I guess is what you would call it. Is that like one of the things that I have a problem with my mom is they love to help my younger sister out. And the thing about it is that some of the ways they help her out, I'm like, y'all have been down this road 3 or 4 or 5 times already. Why do you continue to go down this road? Because one thing they love to do is they love to buy her cars. They love to co-sign for her to get a car. And I'm like, after you've had 2 or 3 cars repossessed because she didn't make the payments or she treated it like dirt, why would you go and sign for her to have another car?
It's probably because of the most time with the grandparents, is because of the grandkids. She keep putting herself out there because she want the grandkids to be better off. If I had to guess.
Well, yeah, that's what they keep saying.
Right.
But I keep saying that, like, okay, you done did this 4, 5, 6 times already. Do you really want to have another repossession on your credit because you decide to sign for a car that this mofo ain't gonna pay for? Like,
yeah, she probably figured she got all the shit she wants. She got her house, her car. She good. She'll be all right. She for now anyway.
You have to protect your parents from themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not to disparage. Hey, we definitely not going down this rabbit hole, my brother. Because you guys heard about the jumping off the house incident, so you know I ain't shit.
Yeah, you pushed him off the roof.
Hey,
it ain't nothing but the ground down there.
It can only be one good son. One of us had to go. I don't know what you want from me.
I don't know. It's me or you, bro. Me or you.
It was me or you. It had to be you.
This is Sparta.
Exactly. So, my brother, he stays with my mom, and while he works, it's some tension. It's some tension there because he feels a bit entitled to stay with my mom. And we're not talking about a guy. We're not talking about a guy who's in his 20s. We're not even talking about a guy who's in his 30s. He's only like 13 months behind me. So talking about a guy that's also almost 40, like I am. 40. And your idea, that you're entitled to stay with my mom, or she has to put you up. I need you to change your frame of thinking. And this is not really about him. It's more about my mother. I'm like, put this nigga out. Like you don't do this. I don't know.
She know her son. He probably ain't gonna make it without her. So
Look,
She
Yeah,
just put up with
at
it.
one of them damn, weekly hotels, and I'm like, you don't have to live like this.
but
You can do.
good luck with that, brother. Because here's what happened with me. So my mama came to me and she was like, "Hey, you know that they're selling the property right next to me and the property behind my house. They're selling it for like I think they sold it for like $2,000. It was one of those tax real estate sales, and the county was just
Right.
trying to get rid of it, and so they gave her first rights of refusal. So they came to her and was like, "Yo, you give us $2,000, you can have the house next to you and the property behind your house." In total, it was like about 2 acres. And so she asked me, "Hey, will you give me some money to help me pay for this? Me, my older sister, and me, we can come together and we can get this piece of property." First thing out of my mouth was, "Okay, what you plan on doing with the property?" And she was like, "We can rent it out. We can make at least $300, $400, $500 a month in renting the property out, and we can go from there." And I was like, "You know what? That sounds like a good investment, right? You want 2 acres. My mom already lives in front of it. Sounds good. If we want to do something with the back acre, we could possibly do something." So I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, take the money, do what you want to do." Later on, I found out that what she wanted to do was she wanted to move my sister into the property rent free. And so
Ooh.
when I found this out, the first thing I did was I picked the phone, started calling folks, and be like, "Wait a minute, that ain't what we discussed. How's somebody moving into the property that we supposed to be renting out rent free?" Because my whole point of giving you this money was that I thought this was going to be an investment property, and we were going to at least make a little rent off of this money. Because what's the point of having
They
a
can't.
property if you ain't
They
gonna
can't.
have
What
pay
you
no
call
rent?
it? Y'all can't
What?
Section 8 it out to it. Where y'all get a check from the government and she ain't to give y'all nothing.
Man, they not even trying. They didn't just let her live in it for a little while rent free, and then come to find out that she moved into my grandmother's trailer, because my grandma had some other land in Mississippi about 45 minutes away from the rest from Jackson, that's free, clear, and paid for, and she put a trailer on the land. And so now my sister and her people have moved out into the trailer, and some other family members, I think my nephew and one of my sister's stepkids, that moved into the trailer now. And
Is it triple
these
wide?
cats, what, the trailer? No, the trailer is a
I know-
double wide.
I'm
And
about to say you named a lot of fuckers.
look, they are the type of people who there's no way to say how they are without being mean, so I'm not even going to try. So they have moved into there, and my nephew and my sister's stepson have moved into the house next door to my mom, and they're living there, and nobody's paying rent. That's the main key,
That's
is that
right.
nobody has no guaranteed rent. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why do you keep walking into the situations where you're spending money on people who do crazy things with money besides give it to you, which is the smart thing to do.
Dude, that
Down that family rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's the guy so out of hand. You can't even fix it without being an asshole. You can't even fix it, because if you try to fix it, you the guy that put people out on the street now.
I mean, I mean, and that's the key. I'm like all about, like, man, I'm like, look, these folks are ghetto trash. Move the fuck on. But when I say stuff like that, automatically they start looking at me like I'm the bad guy. I'm like, wait a minute,
Right.
why am
We
I
need
the
to switch
bad
names.
guy?
I'm gonna be Wicker Thurman. You can be the bad guy.
But
change these titles up.
I mean, but like the truth is that, like, I'm like, look, though, you sinking, all your money into properties, into individuals who are turning around and they're taking any money that they get from the government to like, for instance, these stimuli checks. We all got a stimulus check, right? And rumor is we
it should have
probably
been
gonna
mandatory to put that into the house to fix it up.
right. You would think that these, not a single dime has been spent on fixing up any of the properties that these folks have been living in for the past year or two.
At least
They
you gotta need to cut the
If
grass, cut the acres,
that's
cut
what I
the
was saying.
acres for me. Keep the yard trimmed and manicured.
One thing that I know, for people who usually cut deals for family or for people that they're friends with and they're staying there on a good deal or not paying nothing, is at least live in the house like you love it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put some money into the upkeep, cut the grass. Hey, you staying here rent free? Make it nice.
I mean,
Leave it better than you found.
People will, exactly. People will hate you less. They will hate you less. And
I'm not even there. I'm like, I would be fine if you just went to work every day. Just go to work every day. Like,
oh, yo, we actually showed up 20 minutes late, but hey, 20 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, they're not doing anything with the back acres as of right now.
Graham, you live.
Oh, we live? We live? Okay. I'm still having technical difficulties. Had to swap it up, but anyway, continue. My fault.
He went in there. He went into his daughter's room. Hey, let me get that tablet from you.
He didn't got that school Chromebook.
Man, hey, if I wasn't scared, it wasn't gonna be flagging my door like, so you stream? What is your daughter streaming, buddy? So
I see something about the Cut podcast. I watched a couple episodes. Y'all some terrorists.
Exactly. And so, we can't go back to school because they keep tabs on everything.
Hey,
I don't care what they say.
Call us that day? He called it the racist podcast.
Hey, listen,
Correct.
listen, it can happen. So I'm like, let me find something that is not being watched. Because I don't care what they say, your job, anything else you using, they be like, oh yeah, you like that, huh? Okay. You like, I was offline at 10 p.m. when I looked that up. Why is everybody asking me about that?
Oh man,
It's working.
Yeah.
So,
I was working.
Anyway, G-Dub, we were having a discussion about parenting your parents. Basically, it's a little synopsis on how we got here. We were saying that, when you become an adult and when your parents start seeing you as an adult, and then from that point having to dictate things to them because they do things, they either don't communicate to you their health or they do things that are detrimental, that you feel are detrimental to them, and you're like, hey, don't do that. How do you reconcile that? How do you work that out in your mind? Or how do you say something to them when your entire childhood, at least as Black people, we've been told not to say nothing, to keep your mouth shut, stay out of people, grown folk business. And to this day, my mom will tell me that shit, like, stay in your place. This not for you.
You ain't grown.
I mean, I am 40. You ain't too grown.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yes, I am. I'm so. If you pull out the belt, I am calling the authorities. Now, are we talking like when your parents are kind of like going through that transition where you have to make decisions for them as far as like driving, health wise, or just in general?
We're not
in general. Even before that, when you see them, going down pitfalls of things you've overcome because of your own personal experiences.
Yeah. Like, so don't do that.
Trying to relay some helpful knowledge. Like, look, I didn't see somebody do that before. That ain't a good idea.
Oh no! I don't care how old you get. When they can still do their own thing, they're gonna do their own thing. You be like, well, Dad,
it's rough.
I'm trying to tell you about how a PC works and how the button you just pressed and how that's not a help for. Okay, go and press it then. Okay, bump it. All right, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just stupid. And then I get a call like in a month, like, yeah, I had to put my computer in the shop. Really? I wonder why. Sir. But yeah, you can't tell them nothing at this age. Okay, how old
somebody in the comments asked, can you put another trailer behind to help? She talking about the back acre that my mom and them purchased. And well, my thought about that is that, like, why would I try to help a bunch of people who don't even want to help themselves? Like, my grandma got a bunch of land out in Florence, Mississippi, where if you bought a trailer, you could put a trailer on the land and everything like that. But these people won't even use their government money to save up to buy a trailer. So why would I buy you something to put out there when you can't
Yeah,
even
well,
save your own money to buy
just
something
named
for
about
yourself?
you just named about 10 people, and at least 6 of them was grown with kids. So
Yeah.
if they came together, they could have made a power move.
Yeah. And then I feel you because you don't want to jump in and do a whole bunch of, moving and getting stuff active. And all of a sudden here come this us, right? Like, no, I took off for work and came down here and went back and forth to the courthouse to get all of this documentation. And as soon as I put my trailer out, it's a beef or somebody talking about, well, that's my section. Like, no, it's not.
Or
If
better
you put a
yet,
trailer out there, it's a 90% chance somebody who is not paying rent is going to be living in that motherfucker.
yes.
That's just
That's the key,
Facto.
because not only with my grandma land, because my grandma, she probably had about 10 acres, I would say, probably anywhere between 5 to 10 acres that was willed to her from her parents, and
Mhm.
now it's really under the purview of my dad that we could do. You can put a trailer out there or whatever you want to, but the problem that you have is that with trailers and houses and stuff like that, unless you're paying outright for them, you have to start deeding pieces of the land to the people in order to
Mhm.
what is it called? Compensate for the fact that they're loaning you, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
unless you're willing to got the credit or the money to buy the trailer or the house or whatever it is outright, you ain't gonna be able to build nothing because nobody's finna let you give away, 1/10 of our land so that you could build something that you ain't gonna finish out or you ain't gonna pay out, right?
Right.
So, I mean, me personally, I probably could eventually go out there and build a house, build whatever. But my whole thing is that if I build whatever it is out there, I'm probably not gonna have no use for it because like I come to Mississippi once, twice a year. So that means
No,
that
that's when you contract out a management company to do that property for you, and you just take, I think they only take like $150 a month from your rent, and you just get the rest of
10%
it.
typically. But that's
Mhm.
the thing about it though, is that like no, they're not gonna let that happen because like as soon as I turn my back, if I give anybody down there a key, they gonna have somebody living in the house that, like you said, ain't gonna pay not now bit of rent.
That's what I'm saying. Why
Yeah,
you giving out the key other than the management company?
Because somebody has to go in there and at least sweep the cobwebs, flush the toilets, make
The
sure
management
place
company.
ain't-
That's
Exactly.
their job. That's their job. That's what they do.
That 10% is for
Hey,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here's-
Like you
They
can
gonna-
here's what
delegate
you-
a certain amount of power if you want to, but
if Wicker Thurman ever gets on board, if Wicker Thurman this is my piece of land, then you do what you want. But as long as it's communal, you
Yeah,
can't
you can't do that.
you can't dictate shit. They're gonna be like, this stuff is just as much mine as it is yours.
Right.
If it were my land, I'm like, hey, I love all of you guys, but you got to get the fuck out. You got to go home, but you can't stay here.
so you don't have a section necessarily. It's not necessarily parceled out to just you. So if it's a mass section of land, it's like, oh, these 20 acres belong to y'all as a whole, but there's no, because I know my dad has some land that's in his name. That's not, what they call it, where it passed down from one person died, was it heir property. My dad has some lands that is just his. Like, this is yours, has your name on it. Other property, yeah, me, my brothers, and a few other folks gonna have to cross that bridge when we get there.
No, this is family property that was passed down from my great granddad. So my great granddad, he got 40 acres, bought it free, clear, it's his. We just pay the taxes on it, right?
Yeah.
He had kids, and they split the land up between all the kids. And I could give y'all a whole sermon about how he split the land up that was like just basically just a epitome to me of selfishness. Because it's asinine to think that like people own a piece of property, but they all were figuring that we wanted frontage on the main road. And so each piece of property is about, I don't know, maybe like a quarter of an acre wide, but about 10 acres deep. So each piece is a long, skinny strip. And I'm like, nobody thought that, like, who wants a piece of land
You build a
that
bunch of shotgun houses.
right. And so like basically all you can do with the land is what my grandma
Make a
did.
long shotgun house.
Well, she put a trailer on it. It was just wide enough for her to put a trailer on it. She put the trailer on it. And so if you want to build your own trailer, you would have to either put yours or a house or whatever, you would have to put it in front of hers, directly in front, or directly behind, unless you wanted to go through the whole rigmarole, like you said, asking a bunch of people, hey, can we swap this for that? And can I have permission, easements, and all this kind of stuff?
Sound
Which
like
they
you need some
probably
That's the
fancy
won't.
word.
driveways.
Exactly. I'm like, mine just gonna go straight up to, like, my house is in the back. I just got a long ass driveway.
Yeah, so like basically you could build behind my grandma. She put a trailer there. You could build behind her trailer all you want to, or you could build in front of it if she would allow you, but you could do it. You could run a driveway to it, but you still would, your front yard would still be her backyard. The
Yeah.
not the,
In my mind, it sounds like the worst Tetris I've ever played. Like I'm figuring this out.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
ain't
Yeah.
quite,
It's-
And unfortunately, that's just how it's parceled out when it's given. It's like, okay, we're just gonna divide it up. Like no. How about, like, because I'm not sure of how that process works when someone says, like, I'm willing this amount of property to my heirs or whatnot. When it's parceled out, shouldn't it be like a conversation, or at least like, let's go out there with a surveyor and say, like, all right, it starts here, it ends here. Y'all want to do this in squares and ovals and circles? What we doing?
Well, see,
you
got
end
to
up with somebody being pissed off because they getting the short end of the stick.
well, you got to remember that, like, in most situations, remember now, we're all probably, in my opinion, the first generation of Black people with a majority of people who have things like college degrees, high school diplomas, those types of things. And so when you talk about, stuff that was done, 40 years ago, how many of those people had that type of education, foresight, those types of things? And so what they did was they did what they thought was prudent,
the right thing
at
the time. Yeah.
But now you look back on it, you like, y'all do understand that you could have just built a road down the middle of the property, right?
Yeah.
But
and everybody could have lived off of that road.
Yeah, that's and like you said, nobody had like the foresight to say, like, all right, well, let's make it, or let's divide it up to where, okay, this makes it this. Yeah. Because at the time, your great granddaddy probably like, oh, I'm hooking these nickels up.
Right. He was.
Giving these
I mean, he still did. It's gonna take somebody coming together, like you said, and say, hey, this is what we're gonna do with the property. We're gonna build a road, and you got two sides, and we can build 10 houses along this road, this street now that belongs to us, and everybody get this amount of section, and it's the same for everybody. And we got this little offshoot of land that didn't get put in, that's for us, or this, that, or the other, and call it fair. But it's gonna take y'all coming and getting on one accord to do that.
And when I tell you that ain't gonna happen, because they just went through the process of removing the timber from the land, and so that was a whole can of worms that they opened up, and they tried to involve me in it, but at a certain point, I'm just like, y'all are too late in the process to try to make these types of decisions that make sense on a business level, on a structural level, on a overall level. These are conversations y'all should have from the beginning. You can't just be in the middle of the process and then be like, let's have a discussion about how we gonna divvy this money up, or where this money gonna go, or tax implications, or starting out. No, you too late.
I don't want to disparage your family, but they don't seem like the right niggas for this job. It's like I just don't see people.
But that's how it be. That's how it be. It's not like this. It's not a business decision, because I know, like, similar to what Ryan's talking about, a lot of us have had that conversation where it's like, I swear, if he had just thrown the land up in there for grabs, and it could be somebody not even related to you, but as long as they have the same mindset, they would say, hey, all right, well, cool, I got a little piece of land, tell you what, I rent it to you, or I'll, okay, based on the property, there's always a way to better do it that you can't seem to come to with the people you own it with. Like if it's 10
Right.
people that own it, half of them don't want to do nothing, half don't want to do the other, want to do something else, and you feel like, well, if it was just a group of people that I just
You
knew,
couldn't
the
get
four
10
people on this phone
Yeah.
call could be like, all right, look, we got a little money, this how we're gonna do it. Cool, makes sense to me.
Because like you
If
said,
you
it's
get 4 people all on any one thing, you
No.
get 10 people all doing the same thing.
the thing about it is that like, I could convince them all, but here's the problem is that like this is me thinking 2020 and putting together a full plan and having it and giving it to you. You got to remember when this was probably divvied up, or when people divvy stuff up, these people are divvying this stuff up like 40 years, 50 years ago, whenever, back when they didn't have the foresight to understand and to think and to be able to, call in lawyers and actually do stuff, or they didn't trust the system to be able to work with them in order to do the right thing or the best thing for them,
I mean, they're not wrong not to trust the system.
Yeah. It mess around should have been 50 acres instead of 40. Like,
Exactly.
It's the crump.
Exactly.
It's
Where the hell
crump
is your
down
mule
there.
at, goddamn it? Where's your mule?
Because like, yeah, exactly, because like, we could go on and on about how black people at right after slavery had plenty of land, plenty of opportunity, plenty of whatever, and through just sheer systemic bullshit, it was taken from them, it was given away, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I understand that, but my whole thing is that like, okay, but now we're in a position where we know better, let's do better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, DP, I don't know. I don't know about selling that land because, in the long run, having land is just super beneficial. I mean, that money is a short term, gain, and it looks good in the moment. But if you can turn that land into something profitable, it'll benefit you for years to come, your children's children. So if you can, find a way to make something profitable of it, I'll keep it.
When your grandfather came with his idea, I'm sure he thought that his kids were going to be better at adept at dealing with this. If he knew that it was going to be a mess,
right?
I mean, I sell it and blow the money.
But ain't that crazy how like our great grandparents who maybe only had like up to a 3rd grade education had the foresight to be like, let me give my kids something. Yeah, y'all ought to be straight now. I mean, and some have, some haven't. But it's just crazy how like when things like, especially when you talk about land and what we're gonna do with it, who gonna pay the taxes, it becomes the biggest issue.
now,
Because I can't wait, I ain't gonna say I can't wait, I won't say I'm plotting no more, man. But I'm like, hey, sir, I plan on doing the best I can with the land that you do have. So that's why, I'm a little bit more prudent with my money. Like, okay, what can you do with this?
well, see,
Are you willing to, do you want to do the far away management, or do you want to go build your dream house and live there and,
And where's this acreage?
South Carolina.
Where's this acreage?
South Carolina.
Wait, let's have a conversation about this. Look, let's have a conversation about this, Graham. Where in South Carolina? I want to know where this land is that you own. Where is it in South Carolina?
I don't know nothing now. It's still between my dad and his sister, so I got a while to wait. I just mean as far as when that time comes, because when my grandmother passed away, it wasn't no thing because my aunt had been living with her, helping take care of her. It wasn't like, let me come to grandma's house. Luckily we didn't have that dynamic to where somebody was trying to fight over some of hers, or it was like a thing. It was like, okay, well, you've been living there. Hey, have at it. We still here. Once we retire, we may, some of the land is willed to us. We got some over here. We'll figure it out once we get there. But now everybody's getting to the when we get there part, because my dad just turned 70. So he like, hey, I'm good. Like it's time for me to get where I'm going. And sit down and build my whatever I'm doing and live from there.
Sit down where I'm gonna sit down.
I'm gonna sit down where I'm gonna sit down at. Because right now they in Austin.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, and the house they live in now, hey, I don't know if any of y'all have been to or have heard about the housing in Austin. It is unreal.
Yeah.
Really?
Similar to here, because
Yeah.
in certain areas of Charlotte where used to be the woods or used to be maybe 10 houses,
Yeah.
they didn't find a way to squeeze in a couple more houses in between, and they going for
Where the hell you
300.
think I live? This is exactly where I live.
No. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about stuff that's been there since 25
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago, and now
Yeah.
those same like Cotswold.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Noda and
Bruh.
like
Oh,
all
nah,
those kind
nah.
of areas.
Plaza Midwood,
Yeah, Plaza
Cotswold
Millwood. Yeah.
area, all those places.
Man,
Now,
listen.
at least for me, my pops has a house. He has two houses. He has one that is about paid for. It's almost paid for. And I'm like, if something would have happened to you, my guy, I just want you to know, send that over my way because I am the good son and I will take good care.
Don't you want Bray Ray to have somewhere good to live, Pop? Don't you want your only grandson to have a house?
How's a house? He can live now. Right now, currently, my aunt. It's weird. It's a weird setup. My mom's sister and my parents are divorced now, lives in my dad's house. Wrap your mind around this. My mom's sister stays in her ex-husband's house.
Hey, roof is the roof.
Oh, hey, I get it. It works beneficial for them. Here's my thing. I'm like, if you would will it to me, I'm like, I don't really want to be anyone's landlord. Like, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is hard work.
Hey, like you say, you ain't got to be the one to do it. You just collect the check.
Let me hit off some of these comments because I just want to be sure to get these out there because they make sense. Off the Record podcast, he says, I've seen a black family let a home go because between the five of them, they didn't want to pay the taxes. White dude came in, got it for pennies, flipped it for 300 to 400K. Shaking my head.
Yep. Easy money.
That
I mean, that's
is-
kind of the situation. That's kind of the situation you went with that, 2 acres of land for $2,000. It's like, shit.
Yeah. Oh,
That's probably what happened.
Now, mind you, in this part of Jackson, there are multiple properties that you could buy for basically $1,000 to $2,000.
Mhm.
They're about a little less than a quarter of an acre. You could easily buy these properties, and if you wanted to tear the house down that's on it, build you up a new house. Easy peasy. And it probably won't. But see, the problem is that due to a bunch of systemic racist type of legislation, the house is never going to have the same value that it would be if you just moved it to some of the outskirts of Jackson.
Mhm.
Cool. But think about it like this. You could take $60,000 and you could own a piece of property versus spending $200,000-$300,000 to own the same type of property or a property smaller than it somewhere else just for whatever reasons that the Caucasian brothers give you for why you should live in this area.
And the thing about it for you is that even though you may not get what you maybe feel like it was worth or that you could get if you live a couple miles down the road,
Mhm.
this cost you nothing. So
Right.
it's still a come up. It's
Yeah.
just not, I don't feel like it's realized its full potential, but you still made money on the situation. And something to be said for selling property because liquidity gives you so many more options. It does not like you're taking it and now you just got rid of investment. You just taking that money and now it's liquid and I could put this in multiple investments or another investment or a better investment or a best investment I think is different than this. I just don't feel like dealing with this fucking land no more.
Well, I mean,
Mhm.
me personally, I'm never gonna say that you should sell a piece of property because unlike
Yeah.
some other assets, that land is always gonna be there. That land is always gonna be worth something.
Yeah, somebody gonna need it for something.
And
Because when I
so-
sold my townhouse, I was like, but I'm like, I have another home, so it's not as, and I see that money as something to invest in later down the line. It's not like, oh, let me, go ahead and buy this, let me buy these rings or something like that. I see a chain calling my name. It's like, hey, what's another good investment? What's a good way to spend this money before I'm like, oh man, I meant to juggle that and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. Because, hey man, I look forward to that mailbox money. You dig? Just like, hey,
Yeah.
And so, that's the thing. What?
Your wifey.
No,
That's his mama.
that's my mom. She just threw my whole government
mom?
out there.
wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know. I'm sorry, Ryan. You
Yeah,
I'm like, hey, you ain't doing nothing with it. This is mine. It's ours. Ours.
I mean,
It's together. Like,
yeah, because I already said that. I said that, like, because I didn't put in on this. Look, we gonna always keep this piece of land or whatever. I mean, because
I mean, it's free. It's free as long as you don't have to mind paying the taxes on it. And I'm not sure
Yeah.
the taxes are taxes, but I'm assuming that they're exceedingly low.
I mean, it ain't much.
hey, for 2 racks, for 2 acres. Shit.
See, I mean, and that was my whole. That's my whole premises of even doing it, was that, like, even my mother-in-law, she says that her husband had 30 acres. The kids don't want to pay the taxes, but waiting for it to be sold so they can get their cut.
God.
Right.
Understand that.
Hey, you know what your cut is? The taxes. Your cut is the taxes. You get so $2,000. Here's your 2,000, and I'm gonna keep it.
Well, see, that's the thing that's the position that I proposed. I said you could easily resolve that problem. Send them cats a tax bill. If you send them a tax bill, they gotta pay it, or otherwise there's got to be repercussions. You got a decent lawyer. He can pretty much take them not paying taxes and get them out of the property.
Yeah.
Send them a tax bill. That simple. And you talking about 30 acres? That's a
Even
nice
if you
size
keep
piece
5.
of property.
Yeah, you don't even have to have it. You can sell some of it off. I know, as far as with my pop's property, he made me promise that if he were to pass and he were to give the house to me, if I were to sell it, that I would split the money with my brothers, like, equally. And I'm like, sure, I'll do that.
Sure, Dad.
Sure. No, I'll split it with them. 10, 80.
Because, like,
they're $10.
Because one of the things I was thinking about doing is I want to find me a nice size piece of rural property, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna raise chickens on it. I'm gonna build one of these industrial chicken farms. I'm gonna build one house, a trailer, whatever on it. I'm gonna let a Mexican live there for free, and he's gonna take care of the chickens. And whatever I make off the property is probably gonna be about enough to cover the taxes and pay me a little bit extra every year. That's how you start to build generational wealth.
And like you guys were saying about keeping property, a lot of these properties just need to be matured. I'm sure none of us expected for an explosion of gentrification on Beatties Ford. You know what I'm saying? Remount Road. But if you were to sit this plan out, you could have had a house that was willed to you, that you're just paying the taxes on, that's free and clear, that is now suddenly worth $500,000.
Yeah,
right.
And you don't even have to do nothing to it. You don't have to even renovate the place.
Yeah,
you just gotta sell it.
And trust me, right now the way it's going, it's people that have houses on Remount Road that they went, was it like a duplex to a single family home? If they were to give you a deal, it'd be $350.
Yeah.
The house next to my grandmother, they trying to fix it up. Bohana.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man,
that my grandfather bought for $25,000.
It's a house off Beatties Ford and Oak Lawn, 1,200 square feet. 1,200 square feet. It hadn't even been renovated. They've done nothing to it. Everything is still pretty much original to the owners. One owner been in there, passed away. They sold the house. Oh, man, they bought that house $10,000, $20,000, 60 years ago. 60 years ago. Now that same house, 1,200 square feet, it's going for 420, 500. without doing anything to it. Come on, cuz you never had, no one had the foresight. You didn't know unless you knew, you know.
Yeah.
That's all. If any of you guys have property in Hidden Valley, I'm just saying.
Oh,
Just saying.
listen, I'm not from Charlotte, but I come to find out that where the Panthers Stadium sits used to actually be a black hospital.
Really?
Yes. I was like, wait, huh? It was like right where
I was born here, but I didn't know that.
And it's just one of those things like you have to almost go in with that type of mentality that like anything I hold on to, I'ma own, because when it's time to, because a lot of times people end up getting put out because the property taxes go up so high. Because you can own the house, property taxes go up. You like, man, I'm just SOL.
Yeah.
You take pennies on the dollar, the person flips it. I seen it happen right in Greertown.
That's happening
houses
here
over there
because housing, the average property tax went up at least 50-60% on most people. Some people downtown went up as much. I think I heard of people 175%. If you're on a fixed income and your property tax goes up 175%, you getting ready to get priced out of this area. You see what I'm saying?
And
you're getting ready to get priced out of this area.
And so that's where you run into the problem of gentrification, and you run into the fact of that a lot of these urban areas don't have any low income housing. And they're trying to figure out solutions and ways around it. But the only way around it is that you have to move somewhere else and build the infrastructure and build the housing up there. And the problem that a lot of these city planners have is that they think about today, not tomorrow. So they come up with these city plans that are basically, when they're completed, are already obsolete. So take, for instance, now I tell people this all the time, the next housing boom is going to happen out by the airport. And the reason why it's going to happen out there is because there's a lot of land out by the airport that is free and clear. But the problem is that in order for you to have that land accessible to Charlotte, you got to build light rail, bus lines, all that kind of stuff.
That's coming though. They have a light rail. The Silver Line goes right past the airport down towards Gastonia.
Yeah, but they're not gonna be finished with that until like 2035. So you're looking at 15 years from now, and if people come in and build a housing now, what are you gonna be left with?
I was looking at this a different way, because I'm thinking if you were to buy this land now, thinking the Silver Line will eventually come, it's gonna be cheap. You ain't got to do nothing but just this.
No,
if you got the capital.
No, you can't buy none of that shit for cheap right now.
No, it's already. That's what I'm saying.
Ahead of time.
Is that like people have already bought this land?
Ain't nothing over there. It's not.
No. I'm talking about on the way to it, like off of Remount Road, going up Wilkinson. All of those houses that have been there for years and have all of these older businesses, that ain't nothing but spanking new houses. So it's the area around it that ends up getting gentrified before it goes through.
No, brother. It's Pulte Homes, Ryan Homes, Ryland, all those people, they already have bought all their land out there by the airport. It's already bought. They're sitting on it, and they're just waiting for at what point does Charlotte decide to actually build the light rail system out there to it. And once they actually start breaking ground on that stuff, it's just gonna be a construction boom out that way, and it's gonna be crazy.
Man. The worst thing Charlotte did was not build a light rail to the airport first. That should have been the first fucking thing you did. Build a light from the airport downtown.
And I'm gonna give you an example of where, if you look at places like Korea, Japan, those type of places, one of the things that they do is that when they build something like a light rail or a bullet train or whatever, the first thing that the government does is they buy up all the land around it. And once they buy up all the land, then they start building it. And so when developers come in and say, oh, well, you're building a light rail, you're going to have a station right there. Okay, I need that land right there. The first thing the government says, no, I'm not going to sell you nothing. You can lease it from me for 99 years. And so we're going to do a lease of this land. So then you're going to be paying me on this land for the next 99 years. And that's how they end up subsidizing their mass transit. And so now you get into situations where, with the way the U.S. works, a lot of their mass transit systems are failing because they only depend upon the fares that you pay to ride the light rail. And so that's the only source of revenue. And so now they're trying to jack up the price. And you're like, I can't ride this train for no $2.
But not even that.
For $3.
Because another thing, like in foreign countries, you don't have like personal property ownership. The government owns the land, period. So whoever's using the land, because it's a line that's supposed to go from like LA to the Bay Area. And it's so much personal property in the way of that's in litigation that people are like, no, I want $500,000 for this small acreage. You like, but we go like you have to set in the United States, you have to settle that with the property owner, and not everything can be done by eminent domain. So what ends up happening is you get to a certain point, you stop. You got to work it out with them. Then you get to a certain point, you stop. You got to work it out with them to the point where it's not even worth the money. By the time you would actually complete the project, it'd be $20.99 before you finally can say we can go.
A lot of utilities end up, like with natural gas, because I have a friend of mine who they found natural gas on his land, like fucking Beverly Hillbillies. The dude's life, like he told me about this, is straight out of fucking Beverly Hillbillies. They lived in Louisiana. They had some acreage. They found some gas on it. Unlike the Beverly Hillbillies, they were not excited about it. And when they found natural gas on it, the company, the natural gas company was like, hey, we want to build a pump on it. And they're like, no. And they fought them for years. Eventually, the natural gas company won the right to pump the natural gas out off of their piece of land. And now they pay them. They're like filthy rich. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe it smells bad. I'm like, but you're fucking rich. Anyway. Like wipe your tears away with $100 bills or something.
They move on.
Yeah, move on. Anyway, a lot of times utilities they'll take it. They'll take that. And in other countries, in other cities, like in Boston, I think they took the land and then built it and then kept it in litigation so long that what were you going to do? You're going to build your house back right next door to the subway? No, it's gone now. Or they would give you $1. I think in Boston they gave them $1 for their land. They did some asshole shit to build that rail that I don't even know would fly. They would even fly today. But I'm saying that there is a precedent for being a dick and taking the land. It's just when you're playing when you play politics, it's hard for a politician to say, oh well, they took my land to build a fucking light rail and gave me $1, and then now that guy's up for re-election. Like, how do you run on that? So
we getting your bread back. I don't know.
I could go on all day about that whole eminent domain, all that kind of stuff, because I could. It's a crazy
10 topics removed from where we started.
Right, and so we all off the rails.
we didn't went way off topic. Anyway, Before we head out, I know Ryan doesn't want to talk about this, but I really want to update on this whole Jada and Will thing.
No, I gotta go first.
Hey, they dragging you, boy, ain't it?
They dragging him. I have to talk about it because it's gotten good. Okay, so a week later from last time we talked about it, Will and Jada she felt like she needed to Red Table Talk herself. They went on Red Table Talk for 12 minutes and kind of aired out their issues publicly. The way we perceived Will and Jada was not the way they were, and it looked like to me it perceived as a couple that was either on the rocks or just going through a kind of a not a legal separation, but a separation. We separated, but we legally still together. You know what I'm saying? And during that time, got into an entanglement, which is the word of the fucking week.
Oh man, the word of the month.
Yeah, right. The word of the month, word of the year. 2020 is entanglement. And got into an entanglement with August Alsina, and Will seemed to be hurt about it. Like the nigga looked like he been crying. He like he
It looked like August didn't call the house recently. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
He didn't went through her phone and seen him in the text messages.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, she sounded like someone who wasn't happy. She sounded like someone who wasn't happy. I understand that maybe they're in a business relationship and it's good for them to be together. But if she's saying I just want somebody to make me feel good, I mean that sounds like a lady who's not getting dick down from her husband on a regular basis.
No, I don't think that's what it is. What it is it's Will Smith is Will Smith. Let's just be real. So he is used to everybody telling him how great he is. Come on now. He walks into a movie set, he is thought of the greatest. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
He's used to receiving, that type of adulation. He's not used to giving it. So you turn around and you got somebody else who, again, Jada is a star in of her own right. She's used to receiving a certain amount of adulation as well. So most likely she's going to go to the person who is giving her that, right?
Right.
Will Smith was probably at some point, was like, I'm doing my own thing. I got this, I got that. What I got to tell you, you hot for whatever. Let somebody else do that.
Especially, and they both mentioned that they had done cheating in the past. So in my mind, if you cheat,
say that?
They insinuated it that they both had done
my thing is, from my perspective, did it not seem like she was cheating on him? Because he said I was for to leave your ass.
No, and she said we was done. He was like, I was done. He's like, we were done. Here's my take. Here's what I, not trying to go too much off body language and who lying and what they really doing. But from just in that 12 minutes, Will, number one, looked very uncomfortable. It was like
thought you told me nothing really happened.
Exactly. Will did not know everything. He was thinking, because I'm thinking, and when they reconciled, it was hey, I've been doing me, you doing you. And it may have been like, I don't want to know all that. I don't want to know the details. Let's just move on. And things have been good. And he may have thought in his mind that, you didn't tell me everything. You told me, you did your thing. I did mine. We left it at that. And that's where it ended up being like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna move on. And then this whole August thing comes up, and it's like, oh,
this nigga was in my house.
Not even that, but it's like, you didn't tell me. You told me that you did your thing here and there. You didn't give the details that are now coming up. You didn't say that y'all was all in. Like this dude said, he could die now and know that he has been loved. Whoa. You didn't say that, or that's something that should have been brought to my attention, because
I didn't know you was in no relationship. I thought we were just out here fucking.
Exactly. Like,
and I think that
details didn't come up. So that to me is what makes it kind of weird, because he even made the comment like, I'm just the wife at the podium, like I'm gonna stick by mine, we here together, and I know we made the agreement that we can't hurt each other, but you ain't say all that. You talking about you wanted to feel good and all this other shit. I'm like, oh.
DP brought up something that I just looked on Google and confirmed, which is that like supposedly was sleeping with Margot Robbie while they were filming Suicide Squad.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
Did Margot Robbie get on TV and be like, me and Will, we were so in love and whoop-de-whoop? It's over.
That's the problem.
But
for me, this is the issue where August Alsina fucked up the game, because they were happy, or at least attempting to be happy together, and August Alsina comes in and throws a grenade in someone else's relationship just so he can pub his own album. Do you know how, man? Woo, in these streets. This is what sucks about being a celebrity, is that somebody of lesser celebrity or who is not known can nuke your entire relationships just so they can be famous, just for the pub of nuking your relationship.
And see, I
Smoke.
think
Could be some
that's the
motherfucking
problem because see, like Will Smith could have slept with Margot Robbie and whomever else he could have, whatever. But they're not the ones snitching. You know what I'm saying? Jada slept with Alcina, and this motherfucker, the
And we're
first
like,
thing,
you had to go fuck with this child. You couldn't find a
yeah,
fucking adult that can keep the secret that we got going on here.
Exactly. Because did anybody
on,
know
on another
they
on
were
a,
separated? And you this is what you do. This is what you do. You mean to tell me?
yeah,
And
I heard
what
that
scares
too.
me?
Even there.
What scares me is what if Will was actually on some like, you know what? I ain't gonna even do that. Let me get back with my girl. You know, like what if he had maybe had a fling or something? But it what? Because to me, it's the degree. You over here like, okay, if we agree to do our things, cool. But you in a relationship, this dude all in love. He done changed his hair color. He can die now because. And you talking all of this entanglement because Will said specifically, what?
I'm over here.
What do you mean by entanglement? So since you had a relationship, right?
Relationship with that nigga.
Like
Hey.
he's finna turn that red table over. Like, don't be set up here talking about stuff.
Talking about no damn entanglement. Don't be trying to sugarcoat this shit.
You say, I'm over here just bust down Eva Mendes, or I'm just having sex with Margaret Robbie. We not in love. Like she, at the end of the day, she go to her house, I go to my house. We not in a fucking relationship.
wait,
But you over here, this nigga in love with you. He in love with you. That's a whole different game. It's a whole different
but
game
not necessarily, because think about it like this. Remember, Margot Robbie, Eva Mendes, and I'm pretty sure there are a couple more names out there that you could throw out there. These are people who are already established in their career, and they don't need no comeuppance, right?
Yeah.
So they not out here trying to publicize or trying to get no comeuppance. Now you look at Alcina, he needs some comeuppance. So he probably, was butthurt. And then he was like, you know what? But I can use this butthurtness to my advantage. So let me throw it into my music and sell. That's the difference. And I think that's the key is that like, why you doing with somebody that fickle?
It's at least these chicks are removed from them. Like if you're in a relationship and you're saying, oh, okay, I'm out here doing this stuff, but I'm keeping it out in the streets. These chicks, you don't know them, you ain't never met them. But all who, let me just say this. If you smash my wife, I'm not calling you by your fucking nickname. Like, it's not happening. I'm not calling you all like your buddies.
Your boy. It's your boy.
Like,
oh yeah,
that's probably, you know what though? That's probably why I hurt so bad, because he probably was cool with the dude. Like you say, he was really trying to help the dude. Now I find out, oh, I was really helping this nigga. Yeah, he out here fucking my wife. Yeah. I thought I seen him in the room with my daughter. My wife don't know what is going on.
Oh, shit.
And to my point is, with August Alsina been in the house. He probably took Brandon to the cookout. They'd probably watched games together, hung out. Cool. We was probably we were being cool. You fucking this nigga. I know. I didn't see this nigga. I can't even look him in his face no more. I know his nickname. We were friends. You know what I'm saying? That's like somebody having sex with your brother. That is not keeping it 6 degrees of separation. I need you to be going out here with dudes I don't know. Fuck Pookie from across town. Don't fuck my brother. Don't fuck my family.
Hey,
that's some bullshit, man. Like for me, if we were in an open relationship and I was upset about what went down, that's what would make me upset. Is that this nigga's too close to me. That's my friend. We get into an argument. The first thing August Alsina would say to him, I fucked your wife. And what do you say to that? Nothing.
I fucked your girl. I fucked your girl, bro. So shut the fuck up.
Man.
Yo, I didn't see your girl pussy, bro. Fuck you.
Yeah, man. No, it's not.
I mean, that was all effed up all the way around. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, you can only blame yourself because you let this cat set you up for the fail. That's simple.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway,
I'm like, whoa, I thought we was back on point. You got dudes from 5 years ago, like, the love of my life left me. What the fuck? And she wasn't, and she never said, that's it. She never at any point seemed to show any contrition, like, that was my fault. I should. It was always like, well, it was an agreement, it was an entanglement. Yeah. That's when I just turned into, Willie from Philly. What you talking about, man? This dude is out here like, I thought we was cool. We done. This is a non-starter. This is a non-factor. You didn't tell me all that. You didn't tell me dude was in love. And now he making it seem like y'all love each other's life, and now you won't even just say like, you know what?
And there was no, and this is why I don't like the word entanglement. Entanglement makes it sound like you're trying to take out from your part to play in this scenario. Entanglement makes it seem like you were walking down the street and you got trapped. Like, oh man, this relationship entangled me, and I didn't.
She had to say that because she saw the look on his face. She already knew he was hurt, and she didn't want to go no deeper than what she had to go because he
said, "So, which y'all was in a relationship." Thank you, like trying to. Oh well, our chakras.
This is
like
why you don't do the shit on your tip talk. These are discussions you have at the house in the privacy of your house. You out here trying to pull up your fucking podcast at the detriment of your own goddamn relationship. Like, where they do that?
Will finna be doing a gang of movies. That's all I gotta say. But, Will finna be like, hey, movies.
And that's the thing too, is that like, why come she didn't say all this straight from the beginning? I'm like, yo, you can tell when a mofo is
she was over there telling him he loved her too. She told him a bunch of times, yeah, I love you. The best thing that ever happened to me.
But why? Like,
but it's probably in that moment he was. In that moment, then reality hit like you're a child. You doing childish thing. I'm tired of you.
Yeah, Will is definitely. That's the biggest takeaway from this is Will is embarrassed in a way that he probably ain't felt in a long time. Like I seen 50 and Michael Blackson both like text DM him and would like say like wild shit in the DMs to him.
He was eating that booty from the front.
Yeah, he probably real upset at this. He probably like, ooh, I can't even look at you for a while.
I mean, you know, because he probably already reconciled that shit first already.
Exactly.
He probably was already reconciled it. But then you got to bring up some FS. Like,
they were separated. They definitely wasn't on NDA. It wasn't there at all. Like
NDAs are for poor people. Rich people typically don't have NDAs. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because they both got shit to lose unless you fucking, some dude that you brought into your house. Who you bringing some 20-year-old kid in your house for anyway? He's exactly the type of nigga that would smash your wife. You don't know that little dude. What the fuck is you here for? Get out. You know what I'm saying?
You one of Jaden's friends. What you doing over here? Yeah. Like, we grown-ups. We talking like, what? And it seemed like she still talked somewhat glowingly about him. Like, well, he's in a place.
Right.
And I understood him not calling me. Oh, so, and I'll be like, Rick, if you don't shut up, just say what happened. It's like she never just said like, oh, that's on me. It happened. He at the time we were good. Then I realized that, you was the one, and I hate it got out there. It's really between us. Boom. It should have been 5 minutes, but it's like she never just said that. It was always some type of, I don't want to put him down or make him look bad.
Entire time,
she's talking like he a side nigga.
Yeah, so she put a whole nother layer on top of it by doing it, because it's like, yo, if it was anybody else, if it was just a side piece, if it was just a short relationship, if you just did something, you would be like, yo, during that period in time, they hit me, they hit the right spots, it was working, but I figured out that what I really wanted was XYZ. That's not the way she's portraying it. She's like, yo, I got much respect, I got mad love, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yo, but you're never at any point saying that this cat was not for you. You still, to me, seem like you leaving that door like cracked, like you might jump out.
No personal accountability at all. At no point during this entire thing. That what would burn me the most is that you still out here trying to absolve your personal accountability for this entire situation. Anyway, my producer is shutting this shit down.
Okay, makes sense.
My producer is shutting this shit down. It's definitely too loud, and it's time to feed the little one. So, thank y'all for listening. This has been dope. Check us out on all major podcasting platforms. Watch this shit on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and tell the people peace.
Peace and bacon grease.
All right, y'all.